Yes, people, welcome back to Football United TV. This is United Across the Globe. We're talking all things Man United, and I'm here with special guests today. But you know what's coming first? The intro. Yes, everybody, welcome back to Football United TV. United Across the Globe. We are back again. Thank you all for tuning in. I'm joined today by a very special guest. We got Matty in the house, Paddy's in the house, Brush and Talk MU. Guys, how are you doing? Good day so far?
Good.
All good here, thanks. How is everyone?
Yeah, all good here. Magic, all good. Glad to be on, mate. Glad to be on. Seriously, it's very good.
Yeah, not bad, mate.
Brilliant, Brush. Talk you there as well. 1, 2,
Yeah,
1, 2.
Always testing.
Good lad. Well, look, let's test what you guys feel about Man United, because we know this summer hasn't been too great, has it? With the transfer summer we've had, it's been pretty crap. We've been told pretty much that this season we will be going out and backing the manager, but it doesn't seem to be that case. Now, I want to ask you guys first, starting off with Matt, really, mate. Is this a misery, this transfer window, or do you think we have to give the board, Ten Hag, and the people that are dealing with the negotiations a little bit more time, or is that just a bit stupid of me for even suggesting that?
The transfer window, you've got to say it's been rather underwhelming. When you look at everything that's happened, in January, we didn't buy anyone because we was going to fully back the new manager. We've got the new manager in. And then you look at the deals and you look at the context of these deals. Lisandro Martinez is a good boy, but we only got him because he picked Man United over Arsenal. It's not like Man United beat anyone to him. I think if he'd not favoured the move to Man U, we'd have probably lost out to Arsenal for him. Arsenal was leading the race from all the way. And it was only on his own initiative that we were able to get him. You look at the Malacia deal, it's a great little deal, but it's a deal where we hijacked. We didn't have the emphasis to go out and actually get him as a mainstay target. And then Christian Eriksen, it's another good deal, but it's a 30-year-old midfielder, and our only competition for him was Brentford. When you look at these deals in the context of what they are, it's been rather underwhelming and disappointing. And you have to look at the board. You have to ask, what are they doing? And you look at the deals we missed out on. Anthony, there's a lot of rumours circulating that we could have got him very early on in the window. We didn't act. And you look at the price tag of him now, it's undoable because it's £100 million, and you can't justify spending that much money on a player like him. He's a good player, but it's not a £100 million player.
No, yeah. I guess they've done it because I guess we were interested in Anthony, weren't we? In like May, about 50 million. You probably could have got him for, right, Paddy? And it just seems to have slipped out of our fingers. We always seem to be late on these deals. You look at, like we were talking earlier, behind the scenes of Ronaldo Sanchez going practically to PSG today for 15 million. That's another one that we could have potentially looked at if we're not getting De Jong. So what do you make of it, Paddy, in your views?
I think we've got to give it a little bit of time, but it is worrying because we do need a central midfielder in there, and De Jong does fit the bill. Now, from what I was reading today, Chelsea are going to come step in there. I don't know how much truth there is in there about that today, to be fair. I'd be really quite disappointed if he does that. Champions League football for him. They might pay that. They might come to a deal with the extra man. But it does worry me, the fact that we're dithering a little bit in the transfer market with, and I don't know who's involved, Murta, Darren Fletcher, I don't know. But my worry, because you look at the fixture, Brighton game's coming on Sunday, but the game I'm looking at the big test is Liverpool. third game in on that Monday night. That'll be the test of how bad we can, because we've got to compete with them, and I don't want us to get hammered or annihilated. So we've got to do. But you're right, as Matt just said, Eriksen's coming, touch of class. Martinez, I saw glimpses of him on Sunday. Great, but we do need a lot more. But the transfer window doesn't finish for a while. But if we don't get a central midfielder in there, no way I'm relying on Fred and McTominay in there. No way. I love Malacia. I think he's top notch. He will replace that left spot definitely. Tellez has gone today. There's a few outs coming in. So, but we do need a striker. I'm watching Liverpool with that striker. I know everyone slates him. He just score goals. And if we don't get a striker, because Ten Hag likes a number 9, doesn't he? We got all this missing number 9s, and number 9, do we come in for a late bid for Anthony? But Ajax don't want to get rid of all their players, do they? I mean, they've been decimated, so
yeah,
they don't want to get rid of all their players. So we look for a number 9, but it's really late in the day, isn't it? It is late in the day. That worries me, and that's where the strategy has gone wrong somewhere here.
Yeah, well, Ajax don't want to go. They got a new manager in. He wants to keep as many players as he can. So just trying to sniff out all of the Ajax players, maybe not the best idea. And I think actually, if we would have gone for people like Anthony at the start, they probably would have given it to us by them. That would have given them enough time to be able to replace, because, of course, Ajax have their own way of doing things, and they want to keep it the same as they always have and keep to the same standards, don't they?
And also, we don't want to. So, with striker-wise, I'm sorry, and I will say this at the very start: do not rely on Martial. I can tell you that now. Everyone's going mad. Oh, he's the new born again Martial. He's going to be the business. In pre-season, he's another man. No, he's not. For me, he's still the same player he was. 2015 we signed. We've done nothing for them, so don't rely on him this season, regardless of the new manager. For me, we need a number 9 in there. Again, we're going to talk later about Ronaldo, but. You're right. We're not going to pay 100 million for Anthony. No way is he that. No chance is he worth that amount of money. So it is concerning. Put it that way.
It is concerning, and I did read a report actually today, Bruck. I wonder whether you can touch up on it, that they might drop that price down for Anthony to at least 90 million euros, which would be around about 80 million pounds. You think that's worth it? And what happens if that doesn't happen? And then what do we do? Is it going to be panic buys pretty much for the rest of it?
Panic buys. I mean, don't give me Barcelona got Lewandowski. I would have had Lewandowski for 2 years. Definitely, he would have been the business. But it's going to be a worry. But we don't know what's going on behind the scenes, do we? Are they looking at other targets? If you're talking about De Jong now, if he doesn't come, they're looking to look at up here in Wolverhampton. Wanderers here. They're going to look at Neves, or we're going to look at him. But we don't want panic buys. That'll come back and bite us. So, and I back the manager. I back the manager, but I want to hear a lot more. We're in a lot of speculation. We're in loads of speculation. It drives me mad, actually. But I will need to see in the next few days what will happen. What's gonna happen? What is there? Because I hate. Anthony was spot on apparently in the week. He was odds on to join. He's not, is he? He's not.
I don't think so. Brush, what do you make of it, mate? What's your opinion of what's going on? Do you feel the same as both all three of us so far?
Yeah, pretty much, mate. I think, we're hardly ever proactive in the window. This isn't a new issue. It's been like this for years. We were kind of hoping that this would bring about change with the new manager coming in, with Murto going up top. But, we just have to roll with it, I suppose. With regards to Anthony, I can't see him leaving this summer. They've obviously got the money that they need from sales elsewhere. And like Paddy touched on, you can't just sell all your players in one go, even if you're a selling club. And they've got a new manager coming in as well. And he'll want to, put his stamp on the team and not have a complete clear out. And they're in no rush for money. So that's one that you're going to have to wait on now for a year, unless you are willing to meet their extortionate demands. And I don't think that's the way to do it right now, especially on a right winger, when there's other areas in the team still to fix. The Frankie de Jong thing's really annoying, because that's going to go right down to the wire, isn't it?
Right, yeah. Well, that's what I wanted to ask you, Brush, as well. It's just that I think that Barcelona are playing us for a ride. We hear Chelsea are now going into De Jong, and it's very difficult, isn't it, for Man United to be able to?
Yeah, but it's a mess of our own making, mate. Because honestly, if we did our due diligence, we should have had a short list of targets, and there should have been a deadline on this deal, and they should have moved on to alternatives. But now we've wasted the vast majority of the window on this, and you're kind of stuck with it. You have to just play it out.
It's horrible, isn't it? We seem to do this every single season, and I really think it's changed.
And I think the last time I spoke to you about it, Matt, I remember telling you that, you know, the whole chase for De Jong gave me horrible flashbacks to Cesc Fabregas in 2013, and it was a similar outcome where we chased him in the entire window, only to end up with Fellaini on deadline day. And then the following summer, Chelsea swooped in for Fabregas in a World Cup year, and they got the deal done before the World Cup had started. No problems.
Yeah, I don't want it to go that way, Brush, but I think you're right. I think it looks more and more like that. Talk, what do you make of it? I know Paddy's just had some technical difficulties. Hopefully he's all right there now. Paddy, you all right there? 1, 2. Oh, he's on mute.
I'm back now. Yeah, I'm back now. Yeah.
Yeah, good lad. Talk. What's your opinions, mate? What are your thoughts on it? Do you think we've got to give them more time, or are you agreeing with the guys here?
About what? About the transfer window?
Well, yeah, just asking Talk, what he thinks about it all, and does he agree with all of us?
All right. Okay.
I mean, look, there's still time. Yeah, you know, for things to happen. We don't know what other targets, you know, they have been looking at, because I'm sure I know what Bruce is saying, and I agree with him. Nothing's come out public as to, you know, alternative options, etc. But I'm sure that, you know, the new regime there they've got their eyes on other players, and so I'm sort of at this moment in time, I'm not going to give up just yet that it's all totally gone, you know, south on us. But what I will say is that what we've brought in does it match the ambition of the club from a fresh start? No way does it. Not in a million years. Young Malacia is a good player, don't get me wrong. You know what I mean? He shows some great flashes of what he's capable of. We know what Christian Eriksen's all about. Martinez is another one who's going to be a valuable asset to the team and the squad. Whether he gets a start against Brighton, we'll have to wait and see. I don't know. Probably not. But, you know, there are other alternatives. I think for me, the De Jong debacle, I really believe that he just does not want to play for United. I really believe he just does not want to come and play for United. And if that's the case, I know I've heard it all, you know, loads of people talking about it. It's embarrassing and it's this, and if you don't get the deal done. And it's like, yeah, but hold on a minute. All we can do is you push. But if this kid does not want to join us, doesn't matter how, you know, that's not our problem. We've done our best to try and sign him. We've put the money on the table, offered him all amount of wages. The thing might come into play here is that Chelsea apparently are sniffing around him, but they're not going to offer him the same kind of wages as we are. So when it comes down to however he gets this deal with Barcelona sorted of what he's owed, he has to look at his finances here, right? And he's going to be led by his finances and by his agents, and they're going to say to him, "Look, Frankie, this money from Barcelona, you're not going to get it until blah blah date, right? You get it in dribs and drabs or whatever. Right now, they're offering you the pay cut. We're not going to set that. Chelsea are offering you X amount, signing on fee, but this much in wages, image rights. You know, it's like it's not bad, but go to Manchester United, bam, you're in the money big time." So that's for me for the saving grace is that major swinging back round.
I tell you what, Talk, that's quite concerning for me. Just the fact that, you know, we're between a rock and a hard place, because if he comes to us and it's just for the money, then that's an issue. And, you know, if we do get him over the line, obviously, you know, we're going to have to probably cover the wages that he's owed, plus the huge fee and everything else. And then the amount of pressure that's going to be on the lad to perform. It's going to be really intense, isn't it?
The thing is, though, again, Brush, there is when I said at the start, does this window match our ambition?
Yeah.
As it stands, no, it doesn't. But if we bring in Frankie de Jong, no matter the cost, that then starts to match our ambition, because he is one of, if not the best midfielder for his position, not in you know, probably the world. At
that's a good point. Talk to throw it back at you. Grealish over De Jong. You pay 100 million for Grealish, you would for De Jong, right?
Say that again. I don't
well, he cost City 100 million. The buyout clause was 100 million, and we're you know, potentially would be haggling over 80, 90 million. I mean, would you pay 100 million for De Jong?
Well, it's about, look, I say this all the time. It's the value there. It's worth it to Manchester City because it was worth it to Pep. 100 million. Because, you know, he's gonna benefit and improve Pep's ability to break teams down and get the points in the bag. So it was worth it to them. if it's worth it to you, you'll pay whatever you need to pay to get it if you think it's going to work for you. So for me, if Man United end up paying, ridiculous amount of money to Frankie de Jong, but he comes to United in a happy place, right? I'm like, okay, cool. If that's how it has to be, that's how it has to be, because we are, after all, Matt, a victim of our own massive success here when it comes to the Man United tax. That's just one of those things. We're never going to get rid of that until we get either relegated or Newcastle United become the club, right? One of those two things would have to happen. And it's not, none of those two things are going to ever happen, in my opinion, because it's just not. We're never going to get relegated. No matter how much money Newcastle have got, they're never going to be bigger than Man United. So, you know what I'm saying? So, for me, I think the Frankie de Jong thing, if, no matter the cost, if he comes with a smile on his face, he wants to be involved in doing the do, I'm saying, let's do it. And in terms of the forward options, forget Anthony. That's dead, in my opinion. Too much money. And like Brush said, he's a right winger. He's a winger. Well, no, we want a strike. Well, Sesko. Go and get Sesko. This kid. There's apparently the deal is there, and there's other parties sniffing around, but we're really interested apparently. So you know what? Let's just hope this is where they can redeem themselves. Murto and Arnold can really redeem themselves here and just go, you know what? Speak to Ten Hag. Do you want this guy, Sesko, striker? Big lad, big unit. Goal scorer, blah blah. Do you want him? If Eric Ten Hag gives it the nod, they've got to go out and get it done sharpish. That will bring them back in the fans' eyes to a certain extent. You know what I'm saying?
No, yeah, I kind of completely understand what you're saying there as well. Just wonder whether they're thinking the same thing. Matt, any more thoughts on that? And I mean, looking at it, Matt, Frankie de Jong clearly has contact with Eric Ten Hag, so he's got to have said to him that he kind of wouldn't mind going there at least, because if he would have shut it down ages ago when it was back in May when Ten Hag was apparently calling the player, then it would have been made aware that he didn't want to come at all no matter what. So there must be something in that conversation that Ten Hag takes from it and thinks actually this player is still and could be a player for us.
Well, I've always thought that, and there's I would say 2% optimistic about this Frankie deal. I think you've got. I'll talk about the Chelsea element first. Chelsea can offer him a couple of things United can't: Champions League football and the London lifestyle, and that's appealing to a lot of footballers. I don't think they'll match him wage for wage what we're offering. I mean, I'd seen reports of that. We're willing to give him 450,000 to 550,000 a week to cover his deferred wages. Excuse me. I don't see Chelsea doing that, but they will pay him well. And as I've just said, they can offer him Champions League football living in London. All we can offer him really is the chance to be essentially the major player in the rebuild of this team and a chance to link up with a coach who knows him well and knows how to get the best out of him. But look how quickly we walked away from the Timber deal when he got cold feet. When we was in for Jury and Timber, and that it was pretty much 90% done deal. He then suddenly got cold feet. We swiftly ended everything and moved on. We've not done that with Frankie. So there has to be something there for us to have not essentially walked away in the same way we did for Timber, because Timber was number one target centre back. It's only he got cold feet that we essentially went, all right, we're off. See you later. We've got other targets we can go and get. But we've not actually made that move. I know recently there's reports out that we are looking at alternatives and Ruben Neves has been mentioned. I'd be happy to see Ruben Neves come in, but I think what you'll find now is even if we're going for Ruben Neves, you're going to pay extra money for him because Wolves won't want to lose a player like that this late in the transfer window going into the season. I mean, he's a fantastic player as well. His ability to sit there and just keep the team ticking over. He's a classic conductor. He's a bit like Michael Carrick in that with his passing range, long and short range, and his ability to switch play.
Can I say some of his goals I've seen as well? Some of the best I've ever seen in my life. Like I'm throwing that out there. Ruben Neves is a goal scorer of goals, isn't he?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, he's got one of the cleanest, crispest connections you can ever make. When you see his technique when he's shooting, whether it be from a set piece or just a long range shot, his technique is second to none. he's up there with the best in the world in terms of sheer crisp technique on hitting a ball. He's absolutely phenomenal.
Would you agree with that, Paddy? Then would you like to see him in if we have to go for somebody else? And do you think that we'd have to add maybe 2 players instead of the one? If you're not going to get De Jong, you need to probably get 2 people because obviously that's going to be a bad backup for one player.
I'm hoping we get De Jong in, to be fair, but like you say, Ten Hag's the pull there for. I don't really get it at the moment. Maybe there's a lot of haggling going on over there with it going on. I haven't given up on the deal at the moment, even though the papers were speculating today about Chelsea, which they all are, aren't they? But you're right, Neves, brilliant, isn't he? He's good, and I think we can go from. We don't want to leave it too late. I like to see. But the thing is, I don't know. I do want De Jong. I've got to be honest with you. It reminds me a little of young Gascoigne, to be fair, and that keeps everything ticking in that midfield. We need that. Especially come up against teams like Liverpool soon. Neves, is he going to do that? Have that sort of impact? It's going to take a long while. It'll take a lot of time for these players to make an impact as well. Remember, for them all to gel. There's a lot of speculation, and I want to know. I want De Jong to come out and say something. For God's sake, can someone please come out and say, are you coming or you're not coming, or his agent again? We have to rely on Dutch journalists, aren't we, to give us the information or giving. So we've got the first game coming up on Sunday. It's coming up. What do we do? I mean, Ten Hag must have some say in it, and he's quite a ruthless character. Ten Hag is. He will have some say in this thing. He won't be left to Murta and Darren Fletcher. Ten Hag's got some say, but we might need. I mean, someone's mentioned Tielemans from Leicester. Do we go and get him? But I disagree with that. Again, that's panic buying. But Neves definitely could be a good choice. But do we look elsewhere? I mean, talked about the young kid from. Is it Leipzig? Cisco.
Šeško.
Yeah, is
Salzburg.
Salzburg. Yeah, he's untested, isn't he? I remember it's the Premier League. Remember, it's not just you can't just walk into this league and.
I'll tell you what, Paddy. I'll tell you what. I've had a look at the kid, right? Yeah. Think early Haaland, but without the goals. That's where he is. Like in an ideal situation, this is the kind of signing we should be making, but with a view to send him back out on loan to aid his development. But because of the mess we're in, he's going to come straight in, and we're going to push him off into the deep end.
Yeah, but who gets? If he doesn't get the goals, who gets the goals? That's what worries me. It's right with the midfield. If we do get that slotted, if we don't, we're in trouble. If we don't get the goals up front, we're in trouble majorly. Then, aren't we?
Yeah, that's the thing. With regards to how Ten Hag's setting up, I'm hoping that the goals get spread around a little bit around the team. But like you touched on before, we've seen it one too many times with the likes of Martial and Rashford, and I don't really have too much faith in them. We're just hoping for the best, aren't we? Obviously, in the past they have shown glimmers of brilliance, but can they recapture that, and can they keep it going consistently? That'll be the questions.
There is another alternative here. Another alternative, which I quite like, is Nunes from Sporting Lisbon, a midfielder.
Oh yeah.
Nunes. Now, 35 million quid. He's got this kid. He's got everything. And I watched Stephen Alson's breakdown of him, and I was straight onto YouTube having a look, and I looked. I was like, whoa, I mean, this kid, yeah. Because you know what? Listen, that's what we need at Man United. Also, is we need some of that. This is one thing I would say with Anthony or Richarlison when we were linked with him that I was always banging on about. Is that that kind of attitude and that arrogance. We need some of that swagger back at Old Trafford. We've not had that for a long time. And Paddy, I'm sure you'll agree with that as well. You know what I mean? We need that kind of attitude in some players at Man United to be aggressive.
That was the really exciting thing about Anthony, wasn't it, Talk? The fact that he's the kind of player that gets you up off your seat.
Yeah.
Yeah, the way he traps the ball with his other foot, do you know what I mean? Like he's doing the Panenko or whatever.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, it's very early days, and I don't want to put too much pressure on the kid, but Garnacho, I see signs there that he's one of those that makes you want to stand up.
I think Palestri as well looks like he's going to be a very decent player. Palestri, from Chile.
Yeah. Garnacho for me. Do you know what? There's a moment. You get a moment you're in time where it's like now you do it. If you do it right now, it'll work. But if you leave it, it won't work. Right? And for me, that golden hour now, right now, for me, with Garnacho, is here. And I just hope, I really hope that Ten Hag puts him in the squad and actually puts him on the bench and then actually gives him in them games.
And you know, at that age as well, they play with absolutely no fear.
Exactly.
I think it's definitely the time to put him in the squad. It might be too early for Premier League, but you know, with the Europa and the Cup games, there'll be plenty of opportunities for the young players to get a run out this year.
I know what you're saying, though, Bruce, about the Premier League, but
yeah,
this is where Ten Hag, he has to now look at all this, what's going on at the club, what he's inherited. And again, going back to what I said about, you know, the transfer business as it stands, not meeting the ambition of the club. He has to trade off. He has to balance that out somewhere. He can't let it just fall off and be lopsided. He has to
absolutely. I think we'll have a much better idea come deadline day once it's all done. Yeah. And if we don't get everything that we need, then yes, I think the emphasis is definitely going to be on the kids. And it might even be a blessing in disguise in terms of some of their development. We'll have to wait and see.
This is really like go into a raffle and then you're the last person to get into the raffle box and you get the crap.
You just don't know that. I'll tell you what, mate. It's like going on Ready Steady Cook, mate.
But man, that's
they empty out the bag. You're working with what, a packet of noodles and an aubergine. Like, what can you make in half an hour out of this?
Let me tell you what, you don't know what I can do with a packet of noodles and an aubergine.
I'd like to warn you, Talk. It's pre-watershed.
It's gonna, but joking aside, though, you can't throw these kids in at the moment. We've got to get some. We've got to rely on the players we've got at the moment. But my worry with Rashford and Martel, you touched upon it then, Brush, is that I know we watched the last two games. I know it was pre-season, but I didn't see any clinical side to it at all. They're not clinical in front of goal at the moment, you know, and that's a worry. If we don't get them, got their goals, and then that pressure comes onto the midfield, the defence, and you got Maguire. I mean, shit. Martinez, I don't know if he'll start. Might be Maguire Varane. I don't know if he goes for, but it worries me with Maguire then, and he worries me. But I'm Della. I'm not a big fan of Della. I think Della can go on my minibus and out the club as well at some point. You know.
Oh, and on that as well, Paddy, I'm a bit surprised that we're willing to loan out Ethan Laird, just because we are so quite light at right back, and I don't trust Wan-Bissaka at all either.
The only thing I've watched, right, is the first half of what game was it now?
Villa Diod was on Sunday. I'm pretty sure I butchered that name.
Vallecano, the Real Vallecano one.
Oh, that's
what? What's his name? Tahith Chong. No way, not good enough. Not even.
Chongi's one that's been loaned out too many times as well. It's time that he's got a permanent move now. I think he's same age as Sancho.
Yeah.
Well, look, I wanted to throw this in because we do got to move on because we are talking about players that potentially might be leaving, and this is one that is really going to get discussion up. And everybody that's in the comments right now, thank you so much. Smash, share, like, subscribe if you can. Just going to read out a few comments here. Big up from Static, Talk MU, Yo Static. He says King's Football Show. From King's Football Show. Big up Matt and Talk. Talk again. Anthony Herbert. Big up Matt and all the panel. I'm going for a 1-0 win for United at the weekend. We will talk about that. We will delve into it. Stephen Featley. Big up Matt and the panel. And Solo from the Man United Agenda. Big up, mate. Big up to you. Yeah, guys, I want to ask your opinions on this because this is really circulating in the media about what's going on with Ronaldo. And is it a problem for the club, the way things are going? Do you think it needs to be sorted out right now, whether he's staying or going? Someone needs to come out and make a statement and get some balls and actually own this situation right now because it's doing the fans in, I'm pretty sure. Everybody loves Ronaldo. It seems to be a bit of a 50-50 on, like, people wanting him to stay and go. So start off with you, Matt. What's he got to do, mate, in your opinion? What's going on?
Ronaldo, we've got to move him on. We saw Sunday, he left the game early. We had the reports out that it was allowed by the club and Eric had sanctioned it. And then Eric's done the interview, whereas he didn't sanction it. I've said from when it came out that Ronaldo wanted to go, we need to move him on. For the past 6, 7, 8, maybe 10 years, we've kept players here at the club who don't want to be here, and it's always been detrimental. Now, on the basis this is meant to be Project Eric, it's a new rebuild, it's a new squad, it's a new beginning. Do you want players who who don't want to be here in the squad still. I'm not sure what it'd be like to sit in that dressing room knowing that there's a player sitting across from you who doesn't want to be there. He doesn't want to be on the same pitch or in the same dressing room as you. Is that going to have an adverse effect? Is it undermining Eric and what he's trying to do by him essentially being forced to use a player that doesn't want to be here? I know it's easy to sit down and say move him on, but there's no teams in for it. If he wants out, pay his contract up, leave as a free agent, go get your move then, take a pay cut. If you're desperate to move and desperate to go Champions League, buy your contract out, move as a free agent, take a pay cut. Teams will then take a punt on you. Teams ain't going to come in, pay a transfer fee and pay you $500,000 a week. That's not going to happen. Not for a 37-year-old, because it's not a financially viable deal to any club. Any smart football club would look at that and go, no, it's a no-go. £500,000 a week on a 37-year-old player, they're not going to do it. So Ronaldo's got to make some harsh decisions for himself about what he wants to do. If he wants Champions League, pay up your contract, leave as a free agent, take a pay cut, you'll then get that move you want.
Yeah, do you know what? I agree with you, but I just wonder with what's coming out in the press whether it is actually true or not, and he does feel that way. Or I know there was some problems with him leaving after the match on Sunday. Sunday? It was Sunday.
Yeah, it was Sunday.
Sunday, yeah. So he left, didn't he? And apparently the owners gave him permission to leave, but then Ten Hag didn't know of this, which is sort of confusing, isn't it, Brush? What do you make of this situation, mate?
It's all a mess, mate. I'll tell you what. On the Sunday, I actually switched over because first of all I thought it was really weird that we had 2 friendlies in 2 days. And then what took precedent for me on a Sunday was the Lionesses getting to the final of the Euros, and boy did they do us proud. It was amazing, especially to see the United girls shine as well. Russo and Tooney. So I was watching that. So I caught up on this hoo-ha of him leaving at half time a lot later. I feel a bit indifferent about the whole thing. Listen, no player is bigger than the club. So everything I say is usually in favour of the club with regards to him. If he finds himself still here at the end of the transfer window, then he better buckle down and fix up, similar to how Harry Kane did last year when he didn't get his way and moved to Man City. I don't care who you are. If you're under contract, you honour that contract. Fair enough if you want to leave, but if there's no viable options and way out, then you have to buck up and join everyone else. I don't believe in, if he wants to terminate his contract, I don't believe in paying the rest of the year that he's got remaining.
Yeah, no, it's very difficult, mate. It is indeed. Paddy,
yeah.
Did you get that too, mate? What did you think what Brush said there about the Ronaldo situation?
So my view on the Ronaldo situation, I was listening to Gary Neville today saying about someone that's come in the dressing room who became a bit of a problem. And that was worrying when Gary Neville said that today. But I love Ronaldo. I think it's great. He came this year. But the thing is, if he wants to leave, fine. I saw Ronaldo in his pomp. I saw him as a great player. When he left for Real Madrid, that was it really for me. You know, returning back, yeah, it was great. But he saved us last year in those goals. But if he wants to leave, let him go with my blessing, to be fair. I'm sorry. But I don't want him to become a problem. I saw him arguing with Ten Hag I think they were arguing on Sunday, were falling out. And then I don't know what is the truth with that he left early, because Ten Hag, what is the truth?
It's all over the place, Paddy, because especially in this social media age where everyone's got an opinion on it. So, you know, the early reports were that, he left. Then it came out it wasn't just him. There was other players too. Then there was reports that, you know, the club gave it the okay and they knew these players were leaving. And then today Ten Hag was asked about the situation. And he said, you know, it's unprofessional for any player to leave before the end of the game, basically. So, do you know,
this reminds me, by the way, Brush, this reminds me of George Best. Tommy, I'm going back in time. Sorry, lads. I don't remember it, but Tommy Docherty and George Best. Well, George Best became a problem towards the end, and Tommy Docherty in the end got rid of a few players, Dennis Law, and brought his own. He then brought his own players through. Then Macari.
Yeah,
we flourished. Then I'm wondering, is now Ronaldo? Have you put there now a problem now? And I'd let him go.
And I tell you what, Paddy, at that time it must have taken some balls to make that call. because those guys, you know,
I think Ten Hag's got those balls. I really do think he's that strong and that good to do that. I really do think that. That's my personal.
The other thing is, I mean, this is a 37-year-old Ronaldo. You know, even with him, even at the start of the window, I thought, you know, we can't go into this season with him leading the line week in, week out. He's going to need some help. So, you know, he's never been the long-term solution to our problems. Obviously, in the short term, it would be disappointing if he left because he does provide goals. And where else are the goals going to come from? Because can we really rely on Martial? So it's obviously worrying. But, you know, if he does go, all it does is speed up the rebuilding process and free up wages.
Talk to me. Tell me.
Listen, we got to put some context to this. And you know what? It's two games back to back at the end of pre-season, which was, to be fair, as it stands, looking on last season, was a successful pre-season. When you incorporate the new players, bedding them in, the blah blahs, all that. So I think maybe this has blown up a little bit bigger than it should have done, if I'm honest. Right, with all this player leaving early. Now, has there been a communication breakdown here between the club and Erik ten Hag? If there has, that's obviously concerning because that is, or sorry, should I say, that was Sir Alex Ferguson's main word: communication. Everything they have to communicate with each other and be on the same page. If that's broken down in a pre-season context, that bothers me more than any of this other nonsense, right? But again, we can only surmise that that's the case. In terms of Ronaldo being, is he a problem at the club? Listen, as it stands, from what we know and what we understand, it looks like Ronaldo is the one who's created the problem. So he's the only one who can fix it. Now, if he comes out and says, look, I don't want to leave, I'm going to stay, I want to be a part of the team and everything else, then it's going to go away overnight, just like that. Click of a fingers, it's all gone. Everybody loves Ronaldo again. So for me, he's the only one who can fix this, right? If he's willing to do so, we'll have to wait and see on that. We don't know. But like I say, it looks like he's the one who created the problem. And for me, he's the only one who can solve it. Simple as that.
Yeah, it is. I think it is as simple as that. Just shout out some comments in. We'll go on to the last chat talking about pre-season and the game against Brighton. But we will quickly read out some comments. Stephen says, are you concerned that Man United haven't got the key signings you need? I think we all agree on that, don't we? We haven't got the key signings.
Yeah.
We've made some decent signings, but it's just not really anything that could solidify as a great transfer window, right?
You know what? Carry on. Don't be surprised, right? Don't be surprised if that team sheet reads Harry Maguire, Rafael Varane, and Martinez as the number 6 in a 4-1-4-1. Don't be surprised at all, because for me, that would make total sense if he is now looking at the Premier League and thinking about the young breaking down, and he can't see an alternative. He's got the player right there. Martinez is the player. So anyway, carry on.
Yeah, sorry, mate. You know what? It could happen, mate. Honestly, you don't really know what's going on with Ten Hag, etc., and what he's looking at and what the board's told him to do. Really, I feel the club should make the decision and stick with it. For me, that time was done when he left for Madrid. You need to focus on the future of your squad, not the past, no matter how good he is. Okay, yeah, it kind of makes sense. Big up my bro Talking You. It's been so long. Jamilu Mohammed Idris says, "Man United, I leave De Jong, sign Anthony." He says, anyone agree with that? Do you think you'd rather Anthony over De Jong?
No.
I mean, our squad needs so much, and they're two different kind of players. There's so many areas. Yeah, there's so many areas to address.
We need a midfielder more than we need a right winger. We're not great in the wide positions, but compared to our midfield, it's like night and day. We desperately need
the Anthony one is a bit of a luxury signing for me. Yeah. It's one that we can wait on. Whereas the midfield, I would not be confident if we had to stick with McFred for the majority of the season.
Well,
I wouldn't be.
Well, we're going into the season with McFred.
That's what I'm saying. If he puts Martinez in, break up that partnership.
It says a lot. Some of these players can't get even the Man City, Liverpool teams. That's the standard where where the ceiling is, the standard. Some of
No,
these players
but-
can't get in those teams.
No, but-
Forget
Paddy-
that, Paddy. It's an uphill
Paddy.
struggle for us even to get fourth at the moment, mate.
But Paddy, what you have to remember, this is an early stage of a rebuild. I
Yeah,
know
yeah.
there's a lot of dead players in the squad that ain't good enough. We're not going to build a title winning squad overnight.
No,
This ain't FIFA. It's going to take. I've always said I will judge Eric at the end of his second season. Until then, I'm going to see how things evolve, and I'm going to judge the overall way the club is going, because we've sat and blame managers far too many times about how the squad is. It's more than just the coach; it's the infrastructure. That is the key element, and it's often overlooked so much.
I agree, but but Matt, it's a results industry, and I want to give Ten Hag. I really believe in this manager. I really think he's brilliant. You're right.
Paddy, I understand it's a results industry, but look, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was a bad coach to many fans. A lot of fans, a lot of fans sit there. Ole's this, Ole's that, Ole's the other. I look at how Ole was treated by the hierarchy and what he was given. Did Ole want Maguire? No. Ole wanted the new Chelsea signing, Koulibaly. Maguire was originally meant to be a Jose signing, but we refused to pay the money for him because it was too much, and then we paid 30 million more the following year when Ole was in charge, and he wasn't even Ole's first choice target. But that element seems to get often overlooked, and Ole, as bad a coach as he was, achieved back-to-back top 4 finishes in a squad without Ronaldo. Now, we all say Ole was a bad coach and it was a good squad, and now all of a sudden it's a bad squad with a good coach. What is it? Is it a bad squad with a good coach, or was Ole a better coach than what people actually say he was?
No, it was a poor coach, but we've got products of poor recruitment. That's what we're left with. That's the only problem we've got. Products of poor recruitment.
And see, Paddy, you've just said products of poor recruitment. Who's doing the recruitment? Is it Ole directly? No, it was Ed Woodward. And I still have more reservations about this board than John and Richard and Darren. And
that's the thing, Matt. It's always been a structural issue. I always felt that for us to get back to where we once were, the changes need to come from the top down.
Yeah, we've just got Tom Huddleston in as a player coach. I mean, how do you feel about that? I think he wanted the best.
We've also brought Benny McCarthy. Now, Benny McCarthy was a good player. I mean, he won the Champions League with Porto under Jose Mourinho, so he was not a bad player. But is he really a coach who's going to make a difference to what we have up front?
So, the one thing I will say on the Benny McCarthy situation, initially, like you guys, I thought it was a bit random. I looked at it at face value and I thought, you know what? Why aren't we getting someone like Robin van Persie? The best players don't make the best coaches. This is a guy who's qualified for the job, and if he's certified, apparently he won Coach of the Year over in South Africa. So I'm hoping they recruited him for a reason. Initially, the one thing that did concern me was his horrible little spell towards the end of his career at West Ham, where he couldn't stay fit.
What I will say is, I think Eric backed the choice to bring Benny in. Now, I've always said I will back Eric and whatever he chooses to do. So if it was Eric's choice to bring Benny in, same as Tom, I'm all for it, because I'm always going to back the man in the dugout and the players out on the pitch and the subs.
One of his analysts has followed him over as well from Ajax this week.
Kevin Couch, I believe his name is. That's another one. Look, whatever Eric chooses to do, whoever he brings in as coaches, and that, I will fully back it, because I'm going to back Eric and back what he's doing. And I've backed all the coaches, Moyes, Louis, Jose, Ole, even back to Carrick, even so he was only for 3 games, and Ralph. And I know a lot of people give Ralph a lot of stick, and look, he had my backing. Now, I would always back the man in the dugout. Now, at the end of the day, he's there doing the best he can with what he's got to work with. And it's the same as the players. They're out on the pitch, they're wearing a shirt, whether they're good, whether they're bad. I would always back them and I would always support them.
Where
Matt,
would we be? But where would you're saying all that though, Matt? And I get what you're saying, the support and everything else. But if we got Pep, I don't want to go into this too much. To be fair, he'll go off on a tangent. But if we got the right manager in Guardiola at the very start of this, and I don't know that discussion with Fergie in that New York meeting at the very start, way before all these managers, where would we be now? You never know, do you? You just never know.
We don't.
Again, Paddy, that goes back to the structure and how you're set up.
Yeah.
Look,
Because if we look over the road at Man City, they planned for Pep's arrival a good 5 years before he actually got there.
Yeah. Paddy,
But you're right. But Brush, you're right. Sorry, Matt. The incompetence at this level. You're right. Going back to the structure.
Yeah.
Woodward was incompetent, dreadful, and it was
sheer incompetence is the one thing that just outlines his entire reign.
Absolutely. And Arnold's not far. Arnold's it's the same standard as Woodward. So I don't see any different, and that's going to be the bugbear for us. Is that incompetence at the top for us? Merton. I don't rate. What's the name? Is it? Who is he?
The thing is that Woodward was really good at what he was doing beforehand, which was the marketing, the selling, and getting the sponsors, and he was amazing at that. And they were trying to save a buck by just giving him the job and just handing him a few extra more wages and saying maybe you can do exactly what you did there in negotiations, and he clearly couldn't. And it's
none of them could follow David Gill at all. They had none of his nouns at all in football, and. All Woodward was good at was probably negotiating photocopy contracts. Probably, I was shocked. That was it.
And I tell you what, if we really analyse it, the problems were there long before this happened. It's just that Ferguson was such an elite coach, and David Gill was competent at what he was doing, that they were able to cover up a lot of the flaws.
What I will say about Ferguson,
but we've been in trouble since the Glazers came in, if we're being really honest.
Not only was Ferguson a great coach, Ferguson had a bit of a hand in every single aspect of the club, and that's what made him great. And
listen, when you go back now and you look at that 2009 transfer window, when we got that world record fee for Ronaldo, and Fergie was out here trying to convince us there was no value in the market when we replaced the best player in the world with the best player at Wigan. Read between the lines. Obviously, he can't have believed that either, but obviously he was given certain orders from the higher-ups to make it work.
Brush, is that the same summer Man City brought Aguero and company for
No, not even. So 2010, they bought in Yaya Toure and David Silva. That was the turning point for them. 2011, they got Aguero. There were one or two mistakes made as well, because obviously Fergie is human. Fergie saw David Silva play when he was at Valencia and deemed him not good enough for the Premier League. With regards to Aguero, he said that 30 million at the time was too much for him. But I think that, again, goes back to the board.
What also goes back to the board is we could have brought Lewandowski back in, I think it was around 2013, 2014. No, it was the year we brought Van Persie. Because the board refused to stump up the cash for Lewandowski, it was too expensive.
And I'll tell you what, that summer, I'm a bit of a long-term planner, so I was a bit pissed off at the Van Persie deal at the time. Not because I didn't rate him, because I thought it was absolutely quality. I just thought it was a very short-sighted deal, considering his age.
But it was a money saver. I think there was a £15 million difference between the valuation on Lewandowski and what we paid for Van Persie.
Yeah. But he won the league, though, didn't he? He won us the league, though, didn't he, Van Persie? He won us the league.
Just going to cut in, guys, because we got to get to the last bit of the chat, which is just to pretty much ask you what you think the score will be. And then Anthony's put in a very good comment as well, which I think we could end off on. Starting with you, then Talk, because you've been a little bit quiet there. Pre-season chat, first game versus Brighton, mate. What do you think about this game going into the first game of the season? And do you think we're going to get the 3 points, or do you think it'll be a little bit of a battle?
I think for me, the 3 points we will definitely get. Brighton, I mean, they spent like 17 million, I think, in the window. That's all. Brought in like about, I don't know how many players, maybe 8 or 10, something like that. They brought quite a few in, and they've let a few go as well. And they always had a problem, didn't they, Brighton, with the putting the ball in the net. They play some nice football, but I just think, considering what we've got now, I think we're going to be far too strong for them, I think. So I'm definitely saying we're going to take the points on that one.
Okay. What about you, Paddy, mate? What do you think about this game? What do you think this result's going to be? And do you think we'll bag it?
I think we will. I think momentum's taken us there a little bit at the moment from the last couple of games. I know they wouldn't have been the best, but I think we're going to do it actually. But Brighton, they've got a few issues with them. I think Cucurella, I think he's leaving. I think at some point, I think he's going. Yeah. But what I will say, we've talked about this at the very start. We'll get a feeling of how we're going to play because we don't want to drop in form right now. No way do we want in this team. I know we're trying to get each other together and try and play together, but we don't want to drop a form or even lose this game, by the way. No way do we want that. But again, it's going to be interesting to see how we play. But I can see us winning it. But my worry is who gets the goals. That's all.
Sancho, hopefully, for me. Brush.
I don't care how it happens, mate. I just want the 3 points. Absolute nightmare. Thinking back to the last time.
Yeah, Brush, is that it?
Listen, I will take a 1-0 with a Lewis Dunk own goal. Absolute nightmares. Thinking back to the last time we played them when Cucurella was running riot and the midfield was non-existent.
And our defence, Brush. Remember our defence?
I'd rather not.
Maguire. If he plays Lindelof and Maguire,
I'll tell you what, Paddy.
TV, mate, I tell you.
I'll tell you what. That's another thing. It proper annoys me. If we were properly run, surely Maguire should have moved on this summer.
Yeah.
But we're stuck with him. And then I'll tell you what though. On the pre-season tour, I think it was in Melbourne. He got booed. I didn't agree with that. Because it's a fresh chapter now. He's still our player. I don't see the point in booing players.
But you're right.
Not on the pre-season.
Steven Gerrard's dropped Tyler Mings as the captain. I thought that's a great move. And that is a great move. Because for me personally, it was shocking to me that he was still in the team. Konza for me is a better player. Well, but I want to see a bit of I've got banging about ruthlessness of Ten Hag, and he is. Yeah. But I thought he might do that with Maguire. So be interesting to see again the defence how it plays against Brighton. That's all.
Same. But perhaps this is also because of the board and the kind of tight budget in which he has to work with. If he had the freedom and the money to really put his stamp on things, I think maybe he would have moved on.
Yeah, you could be right there, Brush, mate. What do you think?
Yeah, and this is sorry to interrupt, but also when I look at alternative captains, there's no long-term choice at the moment. The only alternatives I saw in a shortlist were De Gea, Bruno, and Ronaldo at the start of the window. Bruno, he's a bit petulant. He's very temperamental for my liking. Ronaldo, that ship sailed now. So you're pretty much stuck with De Gea. And he's one in 12 months' time we might not see.
Yeah. Matt?
Yeah. So, I just want 3 points against Brighton. I don't care if it's an own goal in the 92nd minute. Yeah, I just 3 points, get the season off to a solid start. We've talked about captains. Why not look at some of the new signings for being a captain? I was speaking to an Ajax fan the other day on Twitter, and he actually says Martinez has got leadership characteristics within this game. He always makes sure that the defence and the midfield are on their toes. He always makes sure that the team's focused. We also could look at Christian Eriksen. We know he's got a lot of respect within world football. I think he's got an ability to be captain, but I don't see him being a first-team player. So I would actually think go with Martinez as being a captain.
Too early, Matt, though. Too early to do that, Matt, though.
But hold on, Paddy. You have to look at the options. You've got Bruno Fernandes. He's very petulant.
Yeah, I wouldn't have
Maguire, you have to ask who in the squad has respect for Maguire. We had the incident, Marcus Rashford and Harry Maguire on the pitch where Rashford swore at him. What would happen if Rashford swore at Roy Keane? There's a level to this. Harry Maguire done nothing and he didn't do nothing in the dressing room. Yeah, if he'd swore at Roy Keane, there would have been a lot of heated exchanges in the dressing room. Yeah. Your captain has to be somebody who can lead the squad and who can command the respect of the squad. Harry Maguire just can't do that.
Well, you know what my idea would be literally just have them fight it out amongst each other and say, you want to be captain? I want to see it on the field. I want to see you like pushing people around, telling people what to do. And the best person that does that over the 3 games is the captain. I'll pick it from that. You show your bloody worth. That's what I'd say. But
Matt, the ingredients for captain, and I saw that the Robbo Premier when they were all stood together, all the previous captains, Maguire stood amongst them, and I thought he looked like
lost.
I don't know, he looked lost completely. He just didn't, to have those ingredients as a captain.
Yeah, Maguire doesn't have them.
Look,
that's why I'm saying.
The thing is, here is you've got to also bear in mind is, look, Harry Maguire he knows now that Martinez is coming in. He's a great defender. He can also play that number 6 role. Now, again, if Eric Ten Hag sees fit to break up the McTominay partnership with Fred, then and plops him in there at the number 6, Martinez. That's the moment, I think, where he's got more chance to use his voice over Harry Maguire. That, in effect, may well actually bring Harry Maguire's game up as a side effect, and that's a great thing for Eric Ten Hag to have. And I think that's one of the assets there of having Martinez, who can play those positions that he can play for Ten Hag. Again, because this is the whole art of management here. Man management is understanding these aspects of players and using them in the right positions and getting them to bounce off each other and compete with each other on the pitch, because that's what you want also. So I think it could well come down to a fight between, I don't mean a literal fight, I mean on the pitch battle between Martinez and Harry Maguire, and they will both spur each other on, and then we'll have to wait and see how it pans out. But
listen, talk whatever it takes, mate. I remember listening to an interview with Patrice Evra, where he said him and Rio used to actually get into it on the training ground. Listen, if you need to have an actual fight, it's all good, as long as it translates to performances. And you spur each other on, because they're all there for a reason.
Yeah, you don't always get on with the players that you play with. We've heard that a lot.
Listen, you don't have to, as long as you're professional about it and you go about your business, because this is a job at the end of the day.
Teammates don't have to be friends outside of work.
Yeah, look at Coley and Sheringham. They weren't even on talking terms, but you would never guess it the way they played together.
100%. Guys, we are right at the end, though. We're going to have to cut it off. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in today. That was really cool. United across the globe back after the end of last season. We stopped it over summer just to focus on transfers, etc., and have a holiday. Maybe that might throw that in there. Let's shout out to everybody where they can find you guys. Thank you so much for coming on. Starting off with Matty first, mate. Thank you so much once again, mate. Where can we find you, bro?
You can find me on Twitter, waffling on about football stuff or posting pictures of food or whatever. You can also find me on the Man United agenda sometimes, FTB Sports with Com sometimes, and also in the chat and on the community pages there generally.
Brilliant. Thank you, Matty, once again, mate.
Thank you.
Brush.
You can find me on Twitter at Brushy87. Outside of that, just floating about in the community. So you'll see me as a guest panelist on the United agenda and here, there, and everywhere in comments and streams.
Brush, thank you so much, mate. Paddy.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter on Admiral MUFC from the 1970s. What a great brand it was. At Patrick Silk 11. And I'm on the agenda on certain nights with the lads from the agenda. So that's where you'll find me, mate.
Cheers, Paddy. Thank you so much. And last but not least, Guy from Planet Zorg is talking you.
Yo. Yeah. You know how to find me. Come on. You know where I'm at. I'm on the Man United agenda.
Is that it?
There we go.
There you go.
Yeah.
Mic drop.
Fair enough.
Short and sweet. Right to the point.
Right to the point. Jab me without even looking. There you go.
But yeah, thank you for having us on, Matt. This hour's gone so quickly. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, it has. And we've kept it to underneath the hour as well. Guys, I want to say thank you as well. We'll ask you on in the next 2 or 3 weeks because we like to swap it all around. Do come in again and have a listen as well. Throw in the comments. Thank you, everybody, who also threw in comments as well. I'm getting a bit tongue-tied at the moment. It's so hot hot here where I am today. Honestly, it's unbearable. But everybody, thank you for tuning in. Everybody that's
Thank
here
you for
right
having me on, Matt.
Yeah, cheers, mate. Thank you.
Thanks, guys, and we'll see you
there you
again soon. Until then, peace out. Bye bye.
Ciao.
Bye bye.